Wales, November 1998. Tommi Mäkinen is sitting in a hotel room with his bags packed. He isn't waiting for a result. He already knows what happened. Earlier that day, on a stage at Millbrook Proving Ground, a Hillman imp competing in the historic section of the rally dropped oil on a right-hand bend. Mäkinen was running first on the road. His Mitsubishi hit the patch, slid wide, the rear wheel caught a concrete curbstone, and the wheel was gone.
In our hand anymore, we can just wait and look.
He sat in the stricken car and absorbed it. Then he called his team boss and asked one thing.
He said, please, let me go home.
He couldn't stand in Carlos Sainz, who had driven a full season to earn it, take a third world championship that was now undeniably his. The bags were packed, the flight was booked, the title was gone. Then the phone rang. What happened next is one of the strangest moments in the history of the World Rally Championship, and it tells you almost everything you need to know about a man who won 4 consecutive titles, built a record nobody had managed before him, and somehow ended up at the edge of the sport's mythology rather than the center of it. If this is the version of motorsport history you want, the one underneath the results, subscribe. Puupala is a village near Jyväskylä in central Finland. It produces farmers and foresters, not, historically, world champions. Tommi Mäkinen grew up there on his family's farm, learning machinery before he learned much else. At 18, he won the Finnish National Ploughing Championship. It is the detail that feels too good to be true, and it explains everything about the kind of driver he became: methodical, precise, and completely unbothered by whether the method looked impressive from the outside. He came to the WRC late, while Colin McRae was making headlines at 25, and Carlos Sainz was already a 2-time world champion. Mäkinen was moving between whoever would take him: Mazda, Nissan, Ford, whoever had a seat and a budget. He didn't demand better publicly. He didn't complain. He finished what he started and waited for machinery good enough to show what he could actually do. His first WRC win came in 1994, Rally Finland, a Ford Escort Cosworth he didn't own, for a manufacturer not yet committed to the championship. He was 30 years old. Mitsubishi noticed. They offered him a factory seat for 1995. He accepted, and before he signed, he asked for a second year written into the same contract. He already knew something the team didn't.
The 1996 World Rally Championship began with an absence nobody official ever discussed. Toyota, the team that had won the previous Manufacturers' Championship, the team running Juha Kunkkanen and Didier Auriol, the team with the most developed machinery in the field, was not there. They had been banned for 12 months after an illegal turbo restrictor bypass was found on their cars at Rally Catalonia the previous October. The most competitive manufacturer in the championship was sitting in a garage in Cologne. Mäkinen lined up on the Swedish rally in January with one fewer serious adversary than the season before. He won 5 events that year. He wrapped up the championship in Australia with 2 rounds to spare. The celebrations went long into the night. The hangover, by his own later account, was spectacular. When someone thrust a beer into his hand at Perth Airport the following morning, he just looked at it in horror and quietly shook his head. The field he beat was real. McRae was there, reigning champion, in a competitive Subaru. Sainz was there in a Ford. Kunkkanen was there in a privateer Toyota. These were serious drivers in serious cars, but the strongest works team wasn't present. The competitive landscape had been altered by a disqualification that had nothing to do with Mäkinen and everything to do with what he inherited. Nobody asked him about it publicly. He never raised it. The record shows 5 wins and a championship.
The era of Colin McRae was an era of spectacle. Sideways through forests, committed on gravel that should have been impossible, McRae made rallying look like controlled chaos, with the emphasis firmly on chaos. He sold posters. He sold video games. He sold the idea that the fastest way through a stage was the most dramatic way. Mäkinen spent 4 years suggesting otherwise. His driving was not cautious. That is the misreading that followed him throughout his career and cost him the mythology he deserved. It was precise, which is a different thing entirely. Smooth inputs where others were aggressive. Tire management that extended across a full stage rather than being improvised corner by corner. A clear understanding that the fastest way around a rally was rarely the most spectacular way, and a complete indifference to whether anyone appreciated the distinction. His rivals were more interesting to watch. He kept winning. The sport's mythology rewards the visible. McRae gave it something it could put on a magazine cover. Mäkinen gave it results, year after year, that were harder to dramatize. The trophies were identical. The reception was not. He said almost nothing about it. He simply came back the following season.
Back to Wales, back to the hotel room. Here is the full picture of what happened that day. The Hillman Imp had been running in the historic section alongside the main WRC event at Millbrook. Its engine failed, dropping oil across a right-hand bend lined with temporary concrete curbstones. Marshals put sand down. The sand wasn't enough. Nobody in the organization thought to radio ahead to the WRC field. Mäkinen, running first on the road, was the first works driver to reach the corner. He had no reason to brake early. He needed only to finish. The championship was as good as decided. His Mitsubishi hit the patch, stepped wide, the rear wheel found the concrete, and in one moment, 20 months of defending was over. He sat in the stricken car. He called the team. He asked to go home. What he didn't know yet, what nobody knew, was that Carlos Sainz's Toyota Corolla was also about to stop. Not in a crash, not on a dangerous stage, a mechanical failure 300 meters from the finish line of the final stage of the entire season, with the championship mathematically decided. The conrod let go. The car stopped, just stopped. Luis Moya threw his helmet through the rear windscreen. The crowd who had lined the final kilometers to watch Sainz become champion stood in silence. Mäkinen was in his hotel room. The phone rang. He was told Sainz had retired, that his own points, accumulated over a full season, 5 wins, consistent finishes, were enough, that the championship was his for a 3rd consecutive year. He accepted it the way he drove, no spectacle. Mitsubishi had also won the Manufacturers' Championship, their first, partly through the points of a young British driver named Richard Burns. He never publicly addressed what it meant to collect a world championship from a hotel room after being eliminated by a vintage car dropping oil on a Welsh bend. He moved on to 1999 and won again. The 4th championship came in 1999. 4 consecutive titles. The first driver in WRC history to achieve it, a record that would stand until Sébastien Loeb arrived and made sustained dominance look so routine that the sport forgot someone had done it first, and done it against McRae and Sainz and Mäkinen, in an era when the competition was real and the roads were trying to kill everyone. Then came 2001, Corsica. His car left the road on the mountain stages. Co-driver Risto Manisenemis' back was broken in the crash. The partnership that had carried him through the peak of his career ended on a Corsican hillside in an instant. Mäkinen finished the season with substitute navigators, strangers reading him pace notes in a car that no longer felt entirely his. The decline that followed was not traumatic. He moved to Subaru in 2002. He won one final rally at Monte Carlo when Sébastien Loeb was excluded for a technical infringement. His final win came the same way his first championship had, through someone else's misfortune. His final competitive moment in the WRC was 3rd place at Rally Great Britain 2003, behind Loeb and Petter Solberg. He retired at the end of that year, and the sport moved immediately to the next chapter, which was entirely consistent with everything that had come before. In 2016, Tommi Mäkinen became the team principal of Toyota Gazoo Racing WRT, the manufacturer whose ban had cleared the field for his first championship in 1996, was now his employer. He built the team from nothing, brought in the right drivers,
understood what a WRC program needed because he had spent a decade inside one. In 2018, he delivered Toyota their first manufacturer's championship since 1999, the last year he had won the title himself as a driver. In doing so, he became the first person in the history of the World Rally Championship to win the title as both driver and team principal. He stepped back from the role at the end of 2020, returned to Finland, to Jyväskylä, to the farm, the harvests, the fields. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 6 Tommi Mäkinen edition still exists as a road car. Mitsubishi built it to mark his 4 championships. Mitsubishi no longer competes in motorsport at any level. The car they made in his name outlasted the program that created it. There's a PlayStation game with his name on the cover. An entire generation of rally fans learned who he was through a video game before they fully understood what he had done on real roads, in real weather, against the best drivers the sport has ever produced. 4 consecutive championships, the first man to do it, a record that stood until someone came along and treated it as the starting point. The sport never quite stopped long enough to say what that was worth. He never seemed to need it to. If you enjoyed this one, you might want to watch our video on Richard Burns, the world champion nobody was watching for, and the story the sport has never fully finished telling. It's linked on screen now. And if this channel is new to you, this is what we do. The history behind the history. Subscribe.